The next person up for induction is boxing writer and author, veteran journalist Tim Dahlberg. And to present Tim tonight is 2015 Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame inductee and Top Rank's very own, and my friend, Lee Samuels. Lee?
Greetings, everyone. There are champions in this room tonight. There's champions in our ring, and there's also champions on Media Row. And this is one of the greatest champion in boxing writing that I know, Tim Dahlberg. When he's a teenager living in Las Vegas, a neighbor asked him, do you want to go to the fights? He gave him 2 tickets to a fight at the International Hotel in Vegas in the Elvis Presley showroom, featuring Sonny Liston against Leotis Martin, and with George Foreman on the undercard. And Sonny was in a really, really tough, difficult fight. He got stopped. Foreman got a knockout in the first round. But that passion, by watching that first fight, ignited a passion in Tim, as we've all experienced, everyone in this room. He writes for Associated Press. His stories go worldwide. He's covered every fighter here, from Muhammad Ali to Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard, Riddick Bowe, Nonito Donaire, Bones Adams is here tonight, Jeff Mayweather, and Paulie Aiello is here too, I believe. He's covered all their fights. He's a great, great writer. After the Crawford-Posto fight, he was the first to get an interview with Terrence Posto at ringside, and deservingly so, as he's a great journalist. Let's all welcome a great writer as inducted into the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame, Tim Dahlberg.
Thanks, Lee. It's great to be introduced by one of the greats of boxing PR, and that's Lee Samuels, who has worked for Top Rank since, I believe, 1983, and does a great job for it. I never took any punches, so for me to be inducted into the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame is just an honor. And they told me this dinner would be shorter than the others because a lot of inductees had already been put in the Hall of Fame, but I think the real reason was that Floyd Mayweather isn't going to be speaking tonight, so we don't have to worry about that. I got interested in boxing because, for a lot of reasons, a lot of people did in the 60s and 70s. Muhammad Ali, he was a hero of mine. I used to listen to him on the radio, trying to imagine, what was going on in the ring while he fought. But I also like Floyd Patterson and fighters like Bob Foster, who dared challenge guys a lot bigger than they were. I also grew to like guys like Freddie Little, who's being inducted tonight. And Freddie would go on to, he fought anywhere in the world that you wanted to fight. Freddie would go and fight. But a lot of his fights were at the Hacienda or the Silver Slipper. And when he finally won his world title, it was at the Convention Center in the old Rotunda. So I have a lot of memories of that. Kenny Adams also being inducted here tonight. I was in Korea with Kenny when he coached the 1988 Olympic team, the last great U.S. Olympic boxing team. You may remember some of the fighters: Roy Jones Jr., Riddick Bowe, Michael Carbajal, Ray Mercer. And Kenny led them through a lot of turmoil, and it's a great honor to be inducted with Kenny. I was lucky to grow up in this city at the same time that boxing was growing up in this city. I'm not claiming I had anything to do with it, but it seems a little coincidental to me that boxing became so great during this era. I've sat in a lot of sweaty gyms watching more fighters train than I can say, but I've been to a lot of great events too. I was just talking to Riddick Bowe in the back, and we were talking about the time that we were on the Caesars jet from Lake Tahoe to California, so Riddick could train and do the Jay Leno show before his fight with Evander Holyfield, which became the famous Fan Man fight. But anybody who was ever here, whoever saw boxing in Las Vegas, it all comes back to Caesar's Palace, and I'm so glad to be here. Anybody who was ever there can remember the aromas of the pavilion behind Caesar's. It was a mixture of cigarette smoke, hot dogs, sweat, and Caesar's woman perfume that hit you the moment you went in the door, and it was intoxicating. Larry Holmes won his first title there, beating Ken Norton, and celebrated by jumping in the pool afterwards. It wasn't the smartest move because Larry couldn't swim, but his entourage ended up saving him. Ray Leonard, who's here tonight, also won his first title there, beating Wilfredo Benitez on a card that featured marvelous Marvin Hagler against Vito Antuofermo. And then there was a majestic outdoor arenas at Caesars where the greatest fighters of their time engaged in some epic battles. I was there for the first one, Ali and Holmes, and again the next year when Ray Leonard came back to beat Tommy Hearns in what I believe to be one of the greatest fights ever. And I'll also never forget watching from a few feet away at Mandalay Bay as Diego Corrales kept getting off the canvas against Jose Luis Castillo in a fight so good it was almost frightening. It's a great sport that's had its tragic side. I found that out after I began covering fights and relived it a few months ago when I wrote Muhammad Ali's obituary for the Associated Press. I cover a lot of sports, but no one has the courage that fighters have. No one can match going in the ring to face another man when the best one wins and the other one can sometimes lose terribly. Fighters are the most fascinating athletes you'll ever meet, and they all have stories to tell. I'd like to think I help them tell them sometimes to the public. I'd like to thank Ed Schuyler Jr., the former boxing writer, for teaching me the ropes of covering the great sport. Especially like to thank my wife, Donna. Stand up, Donna. And my sons, Brian and Eric, who are here tonight. Finally, thanks to Rich and Michelle and the rest of the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame for an idea which was surprisingly long in coming.
Tim, we're going to present you also with your induction ring, and also you got to wear your medal, your WBC medal. You won the gold. Thanks, everybody.